Buenos dias, that's nearly all that I can speak in Spanish, so let's continue in English. So, my name is Pekka Tolvanen, I'm coming from a company called Myontec, and our company logo is, or the motto is, know your muscles. That's what we have been working for in this company for 8 years and maybe another 8 years before that when all this development started in Finland.
Bueno, básicamente lo que ha dicho es que él es Pekka Tolvanen, lleva trabajando o sea, el eslogan de la empresa es Know Your Muscles, conoce tus músculos, y que lleva trabajando 8 años en esta empresa y 8 años de antes en el sector de la electromiografía.
Okay. So this technology that I'm showing to you has originally developed for the sports performance improvement analysis and so on, but it also can be used very widely in rehabilitation and also even injury prevention purposes.
En un principio habían estado desarrollando ese producto para mejorar el rendimiento deportivo de los deportistas, pero también se puede usar para la rehabilitación y la prevención de lesiones.
Okay. So a little bit about science behind this, but not more. But the muscles initiate our motions, and they also assist us to maintain our stability and balance. So we can say that the muscles are the engine of the human body. For many years before, the heart rate monitors have been used to analyze the human performance, measuring the heart and cardiovascular functions. But we have developed technology to measure this human engine.
Lo que comenta es que durante años se ha usado el pulsómetro para medir la actividad del deportista, pero han sido capaces de desarrollar una tecnología que mida la actividad muscular, que al final los músculos son de donde vienen el movimiento, ¿no? El movimiento y los músculos al final son el motor de nuestro cuerpo.
So, but unlike mechanical engines, the human body, the muscles, they work differently. That depends on the physiological status, the situation, and also the ability how much we have trained our muscles. So depending on the performance level, the force production of muscles varies quite a lot.
Dependiendo del performance, el rendimiento del deportista, la actividad muscular y la fuerza que se haga será diferente.
Okay. So, as we saw from the previous presentation, there are already technology to measure muscles using the electromyographic method. There are this very, let's say, old style of measuring EMG by putting glued electrode onto the skin, and then you need lots of cables, which makes the measurement very clumsy and very impractical in normal use. That works very nicely in clinics and also in laboratory environments for sports science, for example. Then there are these wireless modules. They are a little bit more practical. They can be used nicely also outside laboratory. But there are a couple of differences which we have developed. But you can
Como hemos visto en la anterior presentación, existe tecnología y sistemas que son capaces de medir la actividad muscular. Existe la electromiografía de superficie, pero igual, por ejemplo, en este caso de los cables es un poco incómodo y funciona bien para clínicas y para laboratorios, pero igual en el movimiento no funcionan tan bien. Y luego tenemos los que funcionan sin cable también.
Okay. So, in these methods, the muscles are measured individually, each muscle on one channel, so muscle by muscle.
En el primer caso que nos han explicado antes, los músculos son analizados individualmente, ¿no? por músculo.
So, by replacing the problems with the traditional method, we have developed this kind of wearable technology. That means that we integrate electronic sensors and other necessary things inside ordinary clothes. And then the other thing is that we changed the principle so that we measure muscle groups instead of individual muscles.
Pues dando un paso adelante de respecto a los anteriores sistemas, lo que han sido capaces de desarrollar ha sido aplicar la electromiografía de superficie en unos pantalones, ¿no? Algo que se pueda vestir. Y mide los músculos de manera grupal, es decir, mide grupos musculares en vez de individualizar los músculos.
And the fact is that when we, for example, extend our knee or leg, we are using all these three muscles nearly synchronically. So this is the one phase, and we measure this extension phase at the, and similarly we measure the flexion phase by measuring the hamstring muscle.
Lo que acaba de decir es que cuando extendemos la pierna, al final lo estamos usando los tres músculos a la vez de manera simétrica y de la misma manera cuando hacemos hacia atrás.
So you already saw the product, but I'll repeat the basics. So what we typically measure, we measure the thigh muscles areas, meaning the quádriceps on the front side and the hamstrings on the back side of the thigh. And also we have recently developed shorts which include also sensors for measuring the gluteus muscles.
Como habéis visto en los pantalones que antes se han ido pasando, los pantalones que han desarrollado son capaces de medir la actividad muscular de los cuádriceps e isquios hasta ahora, pero ahora también han desarrollado unos pantalones que también son capaces de medir la actividad muscular de los glúteos.
Okay. And then the other parts of the products, we have developed apps for the mobile systems like mobile phones or tablet type of computers.
Han desarrollado aplicaciones tanto para ordenador como para móviles, para Android y iPhone.
And then for more sophisticated use, we also have a Windows-based software with more detailed analysis and more features to review the data for the additional purposes.
Para poder medir y analizar los datos que se recogen con estos pantalones, han creado un programa para Windows en el que para poder medir y analizar mejor esos datos.
Okay. So just to repeat what we have here, we have the sensors laminated inside the fabrics. We have large anatomically shaped sensors to measure the quadriceps, a little bit smaller sensors to measure the hamstrings, and also we have the sensors for gluteus.
Bueno, al final lo que ha explicado es con los pantalones, los primeros dos son más largos para los cuádriceps, los dos más cortos para los isquios y luego los glúteos, ¿no? Que es la última añadido que ha tenido.
Okay, and then you can see there are wires which feed the signals to the adapter part where we connect this very lightweight intelligent module that is needed to measure and transmit the data to the computers.
El resto de los cables eran cables que llegan a este dispositivo, que es lo que es necesario para poder medir y recopilar la información.
Okay. But otherwise, this is like a normal shorts for running or cycling. It's very stretchable, it's very comfortable. It can be washed in the normal washing machine. It's like an ordinary cloth.
Sí, al final son como unos pantalones normales de correr o de andar en bici, cómodos, que se pueden meter en la lavadora para limpiar, así que como cualquier otro pantalón.
Okay. So at the moment we offer two kinds of products. One, it's a little bit simpler version, including the quads and hams measurements only, but then the other version includes 6 channels, including the gluteus muscles.
Las diferencias que hemos comentado, hay una versión de 4 canales, que es la de cuádriceps e isquios, y la de 6 canales será cuádriceps, isquios y glúteos.
Okay. And the product as such is available in this kind of package. This is the 4-channel product. The price in our web shop is 770 euros, including VAT. Then we have also the so-called bike and run shorts, which are intended more for running and riding bicycle. For example, for triathlonists, that's 820 euros.
Pues los pantalones vienen en esta caja, que al final pues hay diferentes para correr o para andar en bici, tiene una badana y los precios rondan entre 770 y los 800 euros.
And the 6-channel shorts, they are not available as single packets. They belong into the larger package for clinics and teams, and including then the license for the Windows software. And you can ask pricing from Vitia.
Estoy diciendo que normalmente para clínicas o para clubs se suelen hacer unos packs más especiales, pero bueno, que nos puedes preguntar en cualquier momento.
Okay, so something about the validation. The development started something like 15, 16 years ago, and over 10 years we have been working together with the scientists to validate this method, and there are more than 20 scientific publications based on this product and this technology. There is, for example, one whole PhD thesis made using these shorts.
Llevan como 15 y 16 años trabajando en el desarrollo de este producto, entonces, para la validación de este producto. Entonces, hay incluso tesis de doctorado probando este producto.
Okay. And the results are that the method is valid, it's reliable in the field environments. It's actually even more reliable than the conventional method. And what's more important, it's feasible to use in the field environment.
Dice que la fiabilidad de estos productos ha sido demostrada, está demostrada por estudios, y bueno, al final posibilidad de hacerlo, la posibilidad de que se pueda hacer en el campo, pues ha quedado también demostrada.
Yeah. And I would like to emphasize that we are not going to replace anything existing methods. We are offering an option to be used in environments and situations where this is more practical compared to the other methods.
Que deja claro que esto no reemplaza ningún otro producto, sino que simplemente es un complementario donde otros productos igual no pueden llegar.
Okay, there are lots of benefits using this kind of method. I'm not going to go into detail, but the typical parameters that we measure is the overall muscle loading, how the muscle loading is distributed onto different muscle groups, what is the balance between left and right. Also, the fitness of the muscles can be analyzed based on this method. And also, we can add to the mobile system, we can add also heart rate data using these modern smart BLE Bluetooth heart rate belts. And also, when you are using the mobile systems, you always get the GPS data, that means speed, altitude changes, and you can draw on the map the route that we've been running, for example.
Sin entrar demasiado en detalle, al final lo que estos pantalones hacen es medir la carga muscular, la distribución, el balance entre izquierda y derecha entre los isquio y cuádriceps, el fitness, o sea, el estado físico de los músculos, y también comenta que se le puede añadir, mientras que estáis haciendo el ejercicio, se puede poner un pulsómetro, entonces, para poder medir las cosas a la vez, ¿no? Y lo mismo que el GPS.
Okay. And if we think about, for example, athletes, they need to warm up before their heavy exercises. Well, with this system you can measure and you can identify the necessary length of the warm-up, because it all measures real-time your muscle loading. When you know what is your optimal muscle loading level, you can warm up as long as you reach that optimal level.
Una de las cosas que nos permite es medir en tiempo, cuánto tiempo necesitamos para el calentamiento antes de hacer el ejercicio, ¿no? Al final podemos medir cuánto tiempo tarda un atleta en calentar esos músculos, entonces, para poder perfeccionar ese calentamiento.
Okay, and then on the other hand, when the training is very heavy and lasting quite a long time, the muscles are getting more fatigue. So we can also measure and identify when the fatigue starts, and what we can do, we can actually detect the threshold where the lag state starts to accumulate.
Cuando los ejercicios son de tiempo largo, de largo tiempo, somos capaces de medir cuándo empieza la fatiga muscular en los músculos, ¿no? Y con esa manera podemos encontrar el lactato, que también se podría medir con eso.
Then a little also can be identified if the muscles have been recovered from the previous training. Well, also what is very important, for example, for triathletes is that we can analyze the athletes' cycling and running skills with this method, so that when you have to be best at your cycling phase, you can see that your muscles are working for the cycling on the best way, and then when you change to the running part, you can immediately see that now I'm using my muscles for running in the perfect order.
De la misma manera podemos medir si hacemos diferentes ejercicios, si los músculos entre ejercicio y ejercicio han descansado, se han recuperado bien, y también medir si estamos usando una buena técnica, por ejemplo, si estamos usando en bici y si los músculos los estamos usando bien, pero luego pasamos a correr, podemos ver que igual hay algo que, o sea, en diferentes ejercicios podemos ver si la técnica es buena o no.
Okay. And last but not least, by looking at the signals and by looking at the results that we show, there is also a way of identifying possible problems in the muscles. That means that in best case you can prevent injuries to occur if you react accordingly.
Y por último, pero no por eso menos importante, la prevención de lesiones musculares, que al final lo que hace es podemos observar en los datos si hay algún problema en ese músculo o no.
Yeah, like looking for the imbalances and other problems. There are a couple of examples maybe. So this is a snapshot of a typical display of our Windows software. So what we are usually showing, we show the summarized curve of all muscles. That means that this curve represents the overall muscle loading as a single curve.
Bueno, esto es un pantallazo del programa para Windows que han desarrollado. Entonces, en esta parte de arriba, en Overall Muscle Performance, podemos ver la carga total de los 4 músculos o de los 6 músculos, si sería el caso, durante todo el ejercicio.
Okay. And at the same time, you can draw here the heart rate curve if that's measured, so that you can see when your cardiovascular side is working heavily, and then when the muscles are performing, you can see that the muscle output is very dynamic. So the heart rate goes up quite slowly and stably, but the muscles, they can be fully contracted at the short moment, but then they can be fully relaxed after a couple of seconds.
La activación muscular es muy dinámica y va cambiando arriba y abajo mucho, pero por ejemplo en este programa se le puede añadir el pulsómetro y añadir en este mismo gráfico, de manera que podamos ver la activación muscular y el pulsómetro en el mismo gráfico y ver cómo cambia el pulso a medida que vamos haciendo el ejercicio y viendo la actividad muscular.
Okay. Then we can also show individual muscle group signals. So also the scientist can go into deep analysis what is happening inside the muscle group.
En la parte de abajo, si arriba hemos visto la carga muscular de los 4 músculos a la vez, abajo lo vemos de manera separada, de manera que los analistas pueden medir mejor qué es lo que está pasando en cada músculo.
Okay. But for the practical users, we can show very easily single numerical data, like here these numbers. This is the average muscle loading over this period. So you can choose a certain area on the signals, and you can have the calculated results exactly out of that period.
En la parte de numeral data vemos los datos numéricos de lo que está pasando en el resto de los gráficos. Aunque esto sea el total del ejercicio, podemos seleccionar partes del total del ejercicio para saber cuáles son los datos de ese ejercicio.
Okay. And finally, with one quick glance, you can have a graphical presentation if there is an imbalance, like in this case. It looks like that the left quadriceps, left hamstring are doing much more compared to the right side of the body.
Y por último, el dato gráfico. El dato gráfico enseñaría de manera gráfica la información que nos dan en el resto de los gráficos, ¿no? Y que en este caso sería que se ve que el cuádriceps izquierdo y el isquio izquierdo están trabajando más que el cuádriceps derecho y el isquio derecho.
Then a couple of examples from the signal analysis. This is here we have the left quadriceps, right quadriceps, left hamstring, right hamstring. These are quite typical hamstring muscle profiles when a healthy person is running. So it's double-headed, like you must know.
Bueno, este es un ejemplo de los gráficos que hemos visto antes. Serían los cuatro músculos: cuádriceps izquierdo, cuádriceps derecho, isquio izquierdo, isquio derecho, y vemos que los isquios trabajan siempre con dos picos. Y bueno, esto sería un ejemplo de una persona que está corriendo bien, que tiene los músculos bien.
Then another example, it's a injured runner, or actually orienteer. His left hamstring, when you look at this pattern here, it's not normal one compared to the normal on the right leg. So by analyzing these curves, you can see also what kind of problems there are in the muscle.
Este otro ejemplo sería una persona que tiene una pierna izquierda, una lesión en la pierna izquierda, y se ve como los picos no son de dos picos, como hemos visto en el anterior ejemplo.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to the part for the football analysis. You know that the problems in football players are very common, and the results of the injuries are very expensive, and they cause lots of difficulties for the teams.
Ahora vamos a ver un caso de análisis en el fútbol.
Yeah. So what we offer a method for prevention and at least for the rehabilitation if the problems has occurred.
La prevención y una rehabilitación exitosa son la clave al final, ¿no?
So we already saw this. Then a couple of examples from Deportiva Español. They've been using our product for a while, and they have created specific testing protocols on their own. So we offer a monitoring tool for our customers. So it's up to the customers the way they want to use it. But what is most important thing is that if you create when you create the protocol, you have to make a very strict and very easy to repeat protocol so that you can compare results over time. Then you can take the most benefit out of the system.
Vamos a ver un ejemplo de cómo usan los pantalones en el Español, que son el equipo que los está usando. El Español ha creado un protocolo de ejercicios, y lo que comenta es que es importante, siempre que creamos un protocolo de ejercicios, hacer que sea estricto y que se pueda repetir más de una vez para poder comparar entre ejercicio y ejercicio.
Okay, then few examples how they are using. They have this kind of wall squat type of test, leg curl test in a test bench, also different kind of lunge trainings or tests, and also while the player is running, you can also monitor the performance.
Vamos a ver 4 ejemplos de estos 4 ejercicios.
So here is an example of the leg curl extension test. So they compare the left and right leg performance. It's always important to make a few repetitions so that you can really compare the performance of the muscles, not just one individual motion.
Vamos a ver este primer ejemplo para poder comparar las dos piernas, y dice que es importante siempre hacer pequeñas repeticiones para poder comparar con otras anteriores sesiones, ¿no?
And this is one of the examples they have provided for us. So this looks the same as we show already, but on the left side, the contractions, the muscle activity is much higher compared to the right side, and that means that the right side is the one which requires the rehabilitation training to improve the output.
Este sería el resultado del ejercicio que acabamos de estar viendo y el resultado nos dice claramente que el cuádriceps izquierdo y el isquio izquierdo están trabajando más que el derecho, ¿no? Entonces esto significa que el cuádriceps derecho y el isquio derecho necesitan rehabilitación.
Okay, then another kind of test. Results, you can see that the maximum output of the muscle can't be very heavily increased if you just change something while you are doing the exercise. This shows immediately what is the response from the muscles.
Se ve como la actividad muscular puede cambiando y creciendo el máximo.
Okay, that was a running test. For me, it looks like that he's running quite normally without any problems. But when we look at the data, we can see that the left hamstring muscle is overcompensating very heavily. So this is what very often happens, that the hamstring muscles, they react with the problems. I don't know whether it's a problem he already had in the muscles, or is this now a sign of a problem which is coming. But anyway, this is the way of making decisions, so this player must be taken into a more detailed analysis.
Se ha visto un jugador correr que a primera vista parece que está corriendo normal, que no tiene ningún problema, pero viendo los datos vemos que el isquio derecho está sobrecargado, está usando más el isquio izquierdo, perdona, sobrecompensando con el isquio izquierdo. Entonces esto es una señal clara de que hay que tener una atención especial para este jugador.
Okay, then they can also use as a biofeedback method for both the coach but also for the athlete to see what is the actual response if you do something correctly or if you do something wrong. I think in this the physio is asking the athlete to contract his gluteus muscles and to see whether it activates in correct order, first the gluteus and then hamstring and then the quádriceps. So they can repeat that time by time, and then they can see in which way he can use the activation in correct order, and that's the way to learn to use the muscles correctly.
En el vídeo se tendría que haber visto cómo el entrenador le está enseñando cómo activar los músculos, el orden de la activación de los músculos, ¿no? Y para ver si luego lo está activando bien o no.
Okay, as a summary, the conclusion was that this helps them to monitor the player's condition in very easy and comfortable way, and also it helps also the players to see how they are doing the exercise.
Esto, al final, la conclusión que sacan es que pueden sacar más información pueden sacar más información del estado de los jugadores, pueden monitorizarlos mejor y incluso los jugadores pueden saber mejor cómo están ellos mismos, ¿no?
And this actually helps them to make their decisions correctly in correct order. That's as our motto is, know your muscles. It helps you to make good decisions.
Al final esto nos da más información para poder tomar la mejor de las decisiones según la información que nos da, ¿no? Y de ahí viene el Know Your Muscles, conoce tus músculos para poder tomar mejor las decisiones.
Yeah, and they are very satisfied because it's very easy to use system compared to the other methods they have been using.
Al final es un sistema muy fácil de usar comparado con otros sistemas.
Can we show now the
Vitia.
Oh, let's just a vision for the future. This is something which we do not have this kind of product yet, but we are considering this kind of concept for the future. So using exactly the same kind of shorts, same kind of technology, but for remote rehabilitation. which is called e-health solution. So every one of us can have sometimes problems on our legs and knees, and we need regular training at home. So by using this method, and only thing which is needed to provide this kind of cloud service, then it's possible for us to train at home or at gym, and still the medical staff can be in good control with our rehabilitation.
Estos son sistemas que aún no tienen implementados, que no lo están usando, pero sí que se están planteando, que es la posibilidad de, usando los mismos pantalones, tú desde casa, poder medir, poder analizar, y a través de una aplicación móvil, pues un profesional al otro lado que te va haciendo el seguimiento, ¿no?
Okay, well, let's play the video. This is one of our Finnish football players who is playing in the local team in Finland where we are working. He has had an ACL injury and he's waiting for an operation. And we were testing him, and for example in this case we made this kind of running test. So at the beginning, when the loading is quite low, the muscle profile is fairly good. We have this kind of traffic light logic, so that when the colors are green or yellow, that it means that you are in a good condition. But at the end of the test, when the loading is much heavier, then it means that, okay, it's already faster. You could see that the colors turn to red. That means that the imbalance is higher when the muscle loading is larger.
Este es un ejemplo de un futbolista finlandés de 24 años, si no me equivoco, que tiene una lesión en su rodilla y está esperando a que lo operen. Entonces le han hecho unas pruebas y se ha visto en los gráficos que ponía ahí, pues el ejercicio que hacía al comienzo y el ejercicio que hacía al final, y se veía en los datos gráficos, en diferentes colores, en rojo, en amarillo o en verde, según tu activación muscular, cómo está, ¿no? Si está en verde es que están bien, en amarillo es que está bien, pero podría mejorar, y en rojo es señal clara de que algo está mal ahí, ¿no?
Okay. Then we test his quádriceps muscles in the leg curl device. We can see that there's a slight difference in balance, roughly 15% compared to the left and right quadriceps.
Se veía una diferencia del 15% en la activación muscular del cuádriceps izquierdo respecto al derecho.
Then he's doing the hamstring kind of test. This is called this kind of yo-yo equipment.
Un ejercicio con el yo-yo para trabajar los isquios.
Okay, and now we can see when we compare the results, so that there's a huge difference between the hamstring muscle contractions activities.
Se ve cómo está en rojo, y después de medir los datos, que hay una enorme diferencia entre el isquio izquierdo y el derecho.
Yeah. So it's important to fully understand what is the patient's or the player's overall condition. In this case, the player, he can run quite normally. He could do the quadriceps trainings nearly close to the same level with the resistance, but the hamstrings were in very poor condition.
Se ve al final que este jugador puede correr normal, pero analizando los dos se ve que incluso los cuádriceps funcionan bien, más o menos a la par, pero los isquios son los que le fallan, ¿no?
So this is a video made by one of our best reference customers, the Red Bull High Performance Training Center in California, Santa Monica. This is their head coach, the director of that center, and the head coach. He was,
Bueno, esto es un vídeo de una de las pruebas que han hecho con el equipo de alto rendimiento de Red Bull. Se ha visto al director del equipo y se ve cómo están haciendo una prueba corriendo y en bici.
phenomenal to me. I want to be able to see what I can do and improve as an athlete.
Slow twitch muscle fibers are used by endurance athletes to generate power over a sustained long period of time, whereas fast twitch fibers are used to generate high force and high speeds over a very short time frame.
When you produce force into the pedals for these athletes, you're utilizing different types of fibers. So we want to try to understand if we can manipulate that somehow to have better force production over a longer period of time.
We are just getting poked and prodded and tested to our limits.
This is the training camp in the famous Death Valley near California.
Esto es un entrenamiento en el Valle de la Muerte, en el famoso Valle de la Muerte en California.
It's a very unique project where we bring leading-edge science together with great athletic talent with the hope of answering questions about how to improve performance.
We're looking at high and low altitudes, and we're looking at the parameters of how that's going to affect us as endurance athletes.
For me to sustain a super high cadence just felt like way more effort than a low cadence. This last test that we did at high cadence, I just felt like my heart was going to explode out of my chest.
If the higher cadence shows a result of improved muscle activation and improved efficiency over time for performance, then I will definitely be doing a lot of intervals at a higher cadence than I'm used to, or vice versa, a lower cadence.
We assess the athlete at Death Valley, which is sea level, and then we fly them about 9,800 feet up in Mammoth, and we have them complete the same exercise test that they did in Death Valley.
Every time you go up above 5,000 to 6,000 feet, you feel an immediate physiological effect. I'm getting ready for my first Ironman this fall, and there will be two really interesting results of this camp. One will be the efficiency at different cadence levels, and then the second one is understanding how to properly fuel myself for 8 hours is going to be super, super important, as important as all the training I do.
We've done 42 performance trials over the course of the week. What was interesting to me that was unexpected is the ability to extract oxygen at the muscular level appear to be maintained at altitude compared to sea level.
There was one aspect that we got from the data that helped me change my training. Seeing that at a lower cadence, I could oxygenate blood and process it better into my muscles at a lower physiological cost to my body.
What we'd hope the athletes take from a program like this is that they get a better sense of how they respond under different conditions, and that adds a piece to the bigger puzzle of what makes them perform at the top of their game.
Okay, gracias. So